Hi guys, Jordan Moorhead with the Moorhead team here. Today I wanted to explain the selling process and then just talk about some common questions that I get from home sellers. So the selling process, you would think, hey, I just put my house on the market and it's ready to go. You want to be a little more deliberate about it than that. So the process, really the first thing you need to do is identify any sort of issues you have with your home and identify any small improvements that you can make. Figure out how much it's going to cost to get those things done. And when your realtor has a great network, that really helps. Figure out how much it's going to cost to get all these things done and then get them done. So maybe you need to paint, maybe you need to put new countertops in, do some light fixtures. There's some really cheap stuff you can do that will go a long way when you're going to fix up a house. When you're going to sell a house. So first things first, look at the house, observe everything. You know anything that's broken with the house, make sure to tell your realtor that. And get those things fixed, maybe do a light update really quickly. And you want to do that before you do anything else. Once that's done, once that process is done, you're going to want to at least do a staging consultation. So what we do for every listing is we do a staging consultation, and we at least have our stager come in and tell them what they need to move or remove, and then propose some other solutions. So maybe they need to stage some vacant rooms. At the very least, it can really make sense to virtually stage vacant rooms. So absolutely you want to do that. So get things fixed up, have a staging consultation, and then you want to get professional photography done. So this is part of the listing process that I absolutely recommend. Do not miss this process. I personally have bought so many good deals where people had terrible photography on the MLS. In the hottest market we've ever seen, property's not selling because they have 1 or 2 or 3 pictures of the exterior of the property. That's not going to sell your property. No matter what condition it's in, you want to get great photography. Get great photography, get a great marketing package together, and then you're going to start to market it. When you start to market it, you typically want to do this on a Wednesday or a Thursday. I like Thursday the best. So you can build up some momentum going into the weekend. Obviously, we're listing right before the weekend when people have free time to go see houses. So we're getting a lot of people through this house. I highly recommend that you don't take the first offer that comes in, even if it's full price or over full price. So we're listing on a Thursday. We're getting some traffic through that weekend. Hopefully we've done some preliminary work to pump up those open houses we're going to do on the weekend. So we're mailing the neighbors, we're knocking on the neighbors' doors, that kind of stuff. We're getting a lot more traffic in for that weekend because you're going to have multiple open houses that weekend. And then maybe you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 offers. You say, hey, we're going to set a deadline of Monday at noon to have your highest and best offers in by, and we'll decide by Monday evening. So I really like doing things that way. I don't like taking the first offer that comes in. I've seen people leave a lot of money on the table doing that. People try to shoot in a full price offer right away, thinking, oh, I'm just going to take the listing when it's priced very competitively. Don't do that. Give it a little time. You can't expect everybody to get in day one. So you've gotten under contract, let's say Monday evening, you got an offer 5% above list price. At list price, whatever offer you get, you've gotten something that works good for you. Then you need to go through the option period. When you're going through the option period, expect that they're going to ask for some things. So just be ready for that. They may come back and ask for a ridiculous list. They might just send you the whole inspection report and say, hey, I need everything fixed. That's unlikely. An experienced realtor will come through and counsel their client on what actually needs to be fixed, and they'll work with the inspector who's an expert to figure out what actually needs to be fixed. They'll get quotes from different contractors on maybe what those things are going to cost, and they'll come back and ask you for stuff. Chances are you know most of the major issues with your home, so be expecting that you're going to do a little bit of work. You're going to fix some things up. It's a give and take, so they're going to ask for a lot. If you give them just a little, they might say, okay, we're going to take the house. The next process, after you're through the option period, you've negotiated based on inspections. The next process is the appraisal process. That's the next negotiation. So as a realtor, a listing agent, I know that it's not over when we get the offer accepted. It's not over when we get through the option period. It's not over when we get through the appraisal yet either. So the appraiser comes out, it's an opinion of value at a specific point in time. It's an appraisal, and it's a professional opinion of value based on data of homes sold in your area. So you're going to get that opinion of value at that certain point in time. Best case scenario, it comes in at or above the offer price. That's great. Come in at or above the offer price, no negotiation to be done. Worst case scenario, it comes in way below the offer price. So let's say you've got your house listed at 500, you get an offer for 520, and then it comes in valued at 480. So there's three things that can happen here, and this is the negotiation I'm speaking of. The price can be dropped to meet the appraised value, and this is what most buyers are going to want. You guys can meet in the middle, the buyer and the seller can meet in the middle somewhere, or you can get the buyer to come up with the balance. Over the past couple of years, filming this in July 1st of 2022, over the past couple of years, it's very common that the buyer would come up with the difference. In fact, before we even went under contract, we were getting appraisal waivers saying, no matter what, I'm going to pay the offer price. That's starting to not be as common now. I would say now, if you've got a great agent, they're really going to negotiate hard for you, but they might not end up getting them to cover the balance in the difference from the appraised value and the offer price. I think most often you're going to meet somewhere in the middle. Absolutely, the appraised value is the opinion of value at this certain point in time, so you know you're getting top dollar if you're getting the appraised value. That's the most the house is worth right now. Appraisers try to justify the value of the offer price. They're not trying to cheat you out of money, but just understand, even if you just get appraised value, you got as much as the property is worth right now. So once you get past the appraisal, the next thing is closing. And we have some issues come up here. If anything is screwed into the wall and is attached to the home, then make sure that you've either negotiated with them when the offer came in or before the closing that these things are either going to come with you or they're going to stay. Again, if it's screwed into the wall, it's considered attached. This is a detached property. Or the bike rack in the garage, that's attached, and those buyers are going to expect that attached real property to continue to be part of the property. So when you're accepting an offer, make sure if you've got a favorite bike rack that you want to keep in the garage and it's screwed in, anything that's screwed in or anything that needs to be unattached with tools, make sure you've negotiated that beforehand. I've seen lots of closings go bad right at the closing table because of that. If you're selling a multifamily property, this is when you're going to get the prorated rent and security deposits figured out from your agent and the buyer's agent before closing so you don't have any issues. So just dot all your I's, cross all your T's, make sure everybody's in agreement with how everything's going to look at closing, and you're going to be in a much better spot. Common questions I get from sellers. So we'll start on multifamily properties first. Hey, do I need to kick my tenants out? Maybe you might need to get top dollar. Do not renew leases before you go to sell multifamily properties. Leave them month to month. So number one with multifamily property, leave them month to month. Make sure you have all your documentation. Make sure you have your security deposit and prorated rent ready to go. And just don't shoot yourself in the foot by really prioritizing your tenants over prioritizing the sale. On a single family, typically you need to be out at the day of closing. Now that can be negotiated. You can get a lease back. You could possibly even move before closing if you're trying to get ahead of things, but make sure you understand when you need to be out, because on the day of closing, that property is property of the new buyer. So the buyer is going to be the owner on day of closing. They're going to have the deed and they're expect to move in. They're going to expect the house to be clean. So do them a favor when you have all your stuff moved out, hire a cleaner to come through and clean it, or clean it yourself. I like to present a great product to somebody that's buying a home from me. I want them to be happy. I want them to think, wow, they just went above and beyond to make sure I had a great experience here. And it doesn't cost you a lot of money. Maybe you pay $150, $200 for a deep clean the day before closing, and the buyer walks in, it's a nice clean house. How simple and easy is that? They're going to do that walkthrough beforehand too. The more you can cooperate with the buyers up front, the better experience you're going to have, because they're going to say, hey, they're trying to do their best to make this easy for me. If any sort of mishaps come up or there's any mistakes, which there will be, there always is issues that come up through transaction, it's going to be a lot easier to work with them when you're reasonable and you're trying to work together. So when you're looking to sell a home, just make sure you keep in mind everybody has the same goal. The buyer wants to buy the property, the seller, you, wants to sell the property. Let's work together to make this a smooth transaction rather than trying to fight each other all along the way, and you'll have a much better experience.